Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Dan Wickline Show. It's a big day here on the Experience. We have, right after this show, we have Comics Collectibles with Rex and John, but it's a special day because Moon Knight is debuting this week, as in it popped up last night. I saw it. It's awesome. If you haven't seen the first episode after the next 2 hours, go watch it. But because Moon Knight's debuting, the whole collectible show is going to be Moon Knight based. There's a bunch of the recent #1 issues with various covers, CGC books, great stuff. But there's three prime things that are being offered up today. One is a CGC graded copy of Marvel Spotlight #28. That is Moon Knight's first solo appearance. There is original art, including a John Romita Jr. cover for the recent Moon Knight #1. This is the only time John Romita Jr. has drawn Moon Knight on a cover. So this is a great piece to pick up. But the Peace Diaries is an actual original art page from Werewolf by Night #33. It's the second page of the book. This, of course, is the debut story of Moon Knight. He first appears in #32, carries over into 33. This is pencil art by Don Perlin, inked by Howie Perlin, story by Doug Munch. This is the creation of Moon Knight. So this is a rare, super rare piece of original art, and it's being offered up today on the Comics Collectibles with Rex and John, starting in just an hour. So you're going to want to stick around for that. But that's that show. Today's show, we have a special guest. She is a writer, artist, and current president of the Comic Arts Professional Society. She has a Kickstarter coming up, and we're going to talk to her about that. So please welcome Christy Shin.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Pretty relaxing. I'm getting ready for WonderCon. If you're local, you guys know what that show is. I'll be at Artist Alley E54. And are you going to be there as well?
I am not. I tend to go because it's not that far down the road from me, but I'm not going this year. So
okay. That would have been great. But yeah, no, I'm going to so I'm going to be at WonderCon, so I'm prepping for that. So you're just kind of slowly packing throughout the week so you don't forget like the important stuff. And I'll be tabling there for myself as well. But it's actually a pretty nice day today. Got up, got some things done, got some things straightened out. Typical stuff with a Kickstarter, and everything's like hyper focused on the Kickstarter as well as your own work.
Oh yeah, it's weird for me to think that WonderCon is just down the road now. I used to go to WonderCon when it was in Oakland, in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, like at the Moscone Center. The one I remember it being at the Moscone Center, for a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, I went all the way back when it was in Oakland, where it was in, I think it was the Marriott, where the convention center and the hotel were one. So you basically walked out of the convention center, got in your elevator, and went up to your room.
Yeah. I kind of have a story that's sort of similar. Like I went to Anime Expo when it was still in San Jose. So it's like, that.
Yep. Yeah. Back when I would go to Ape up in San Jose, Yeah, I've got some. It's funny. You get some interesting stories that have very little to do with the show, but being at the show, like the horrible hotels and all that stuff.
I mean, there's also the con crud and the people with questionable hygiene, and you're just like,
oh yeah. I think the oddest thing about San Jose was I was there for Ape, and we had a hotel that you would go into the shower, and if you opened the window for the shower, it would open up into the main parking lot and next to the window to check in. So you'd slide the window open while you're taking a shower, and you'd be looking at the people in line to get their room.
That's really crazy in a
way.
Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah, it's just like those were the days back then. Now it's like all automated and everything. And this is, and the crowds are just like gathered outside while you're the exhibitor, and like the horde comes.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's and like getting a hotel room for San Diego has become like winning the lottery. Yeah,
Oh yeah, like it's like unless you can find a hookup or kind of do it way ahead of time or kind of slip in between the cracks, there's no way. It's like it's been pretty crazy. That's why I don't even bother with the hotel lottery. Luckily, I have some things going on, so that would work out all right.
yeah, yeah. I figure I'm just going to rent a building at some point, and just take all the floors and just rent them out to people.
Yeah, yeah,
Bring your own sleeping bags, but you got a room.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. It's like, oh, bring your air mattress. Come on, we're in the
Yeah,
21st
yeah.
century.
I mean, with all the empty buildings or the empty storefronts and stuff, just rent one for a weekend.
I mean, that might be a little bit cheaper. Just have running water and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So, all right, let's talk about your Kickstarter now. First thing, is it up and running or
It's currently up and running right now.
okay?
Sorry, Black Cat. It's currently up and running right now. It is now at about 32%. And I ran it since last Tuesday. So it's been having a nice momentum, but you know how we run Kickstarters, it's like we always want more. Like we want
Oh,
things funded like right away. So it's like it's currently at 2,193. I'm asking for 7 grand
mhm.
is to print my Demon Bitch novel Triggered. And it was basically about me dealing with COVID for the last 2 years. Not long COVID, just COVID in general,
Mhm.
basically. So I've been kind of, so it's like there's that. And we've got a computer game coming up that we're developing one level at a time. And people get to beta test that. So if you support one of the tiers, you get to go complain to my programmer how much it stinks. It's, yeah. So there's that. And there's original art for sale. Like the original first piece of art, the Tamabichi, actually sold pretty much immediately the first day. So I was like, well, I've got sketches. So I've got a bunch of original sketches here that are part of the rewards as well as too. So I've got these there all ready to go. You can buy all 6 of them or one each for $50. There's also, you can get a Charm Animu Demon. Now, if you're familiar with Zoralita's artwork with My Little Pony,
Mhm.
she's coming out. She came out recently. She was able to reveal it because, NDA. She's actually worked on Hasbro's like, not Tales of Equestria. I'm terrible with the Milo Pony, so sorry, Mary. But it's labeled in my Kickstarter. I do not have any affiliation with Hasbro, but I just want to let her know that she does stuff like Animu Demon, which is the charm, and she's got some prints contributed, but she is part of the My Little Pony aspect of that, which was kind of funny because when I asked her at the beginning, because she's done a couple of my other Kickstarters with
Yeah.
the fan art doing Demon Bitch, and I said, Mary, do you want to go and draw a Demon Bitch? And I kind of didn't know what she would say. And then she just said, yes. Like that light in her eye. Like it's like cute but awful. And then I have Dallas and Connie that have contributed their designs. Dallas is really into the tiki design and such. And he's got like a really weird art style, which is actually pretty cool. And he did the tiki version of Demon Bitch that's offered as a patch and a sticker, a woven patch. And then his counterpart Connie, she designed the Tamabichi pins, which are glow in the dark.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So let's jump in on what's the sales or what's the how do you describe Demon Bitch? I mean, I've read through the book. I've picked up on you're kind of picking on some of these Instagram women who go out there and they oh, woe is me, you're not clicking on my buttons, you're not thumbing up, you're liking. And how do you describe Demon Bitch? She's quite interesting.
Well, the synopsis is overall I use is that she's a low-level demon from the 13th pit of hell where people throw their dog crap in gum wrappers. She wants to bring the second coming of Armageddon, but the first one never happened because she's an idiot. It just never happened, but she just gets it in her head. But she gets distracted by promiscuous sex and hard drugs. The thing is that Demon Bitch is kind of like after I did Personal Monsters, which was like the origin of the species, but for buttholes, pretty much. I've had
Mhm.
people actually buy that book for their kids. That they've read through it, but they bought it, which I find is really funny. But I mean, I have people when you go to a convention, like if you go to WonderCon or anything, I actually let people read my books. I have no problems with people touching my books. And usually they'll buy them for their children, which is weird. But it's kind of like I just realized like recently, like Matt Groening is one of my favorite cartoonists. And
Mhm.
I was familiar with his Life in Hell series. And he said he did Life in Hell after he moved to LA. And I did Personal Monsters soon after I moved to LA. And then Demon Bitch evolved from that because it's like, when you're friends in a new city, you kind of don't know who to be friends with. So you just befriend people, you think you get it down, but then sometimes those people turn out to be jerks. So, and people that just aren't really good for you. And even though I never did anything like really stupid with these people, but I realized like on a certain level, like in LA, I think when you first move, you go through the crap first because it floats to the top. And then you actually start meeting the really cool people once you get familiarized with that culture. There's a lot of really good people in LA. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're all shallow buttholes, but you have to go through that layer. And I've actually, like I said, I have a lot of friends that are models and actors, and they work hard. They work hard for this, but I'm making fun of the ones that go like, I'm a model, I'm a model, I'm a model. And they do a bumper of Coke in the back. And all they do is do uppers and downers all day long. And then they wonder why they never get a job. Just people like that, or wannabe artists. And when I say wannabe artists, I'm not gatekeeping here. What I'm saying about wannabe artists is like they say, yeah, I draw well, but I have no discipline and I screw over my clients, or I'm a crappy person to people, or I actually trace people's work, or, I take people's work, but I don't credit them. And I don't say that I know the credit, but I'm just going to say by association, I kind of did it when they didn't. It's just people that I absolutely have no respect for because of just how they behave.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I mean, you get that with a certain level of artists, but you also get that with writers and producers in this town. People who've done nothing and then take that title. And it's a lot easier to do with a writer or producer title because you don't have to show anything. At least with an artist, you should be able to show some form of art. You show a written script, no one's going to know. No one's going to read it. Yeah.
Well,
You can still claim to be a writer.
Yeah. I mean, it's like weird because I sort of evolved into writing too, because like I've been told like, as I said, I do Demon Bitch and I do observations and I do cartoons, but I'm not a writer in the traditional sense. It's weird because I kind of tend to storyboard my stuff out, but now I've gotten into actually sort of writing stuff out, which is weird, but it somehow works out that way. And I rather like it, but it's like kind of weird owning that title of writer as well. So I'm kind of like, okay, because I mean, I think primarily of myself as an artist, that's my background. But I mean, this town has made me do different things that I never thought I would do. All of them legal, guys. Yeah. I can write home to my mom. There's no weird videos of me on the internet. So that's not what I meant, but I think with moving to LA, it kind of challenges you in ways creatively. It's kind of like, with this Kickstarter, it's sort of like I was telling somebody who's also running a campaign too. And I said, you have to understand that with Kickstarter, and I just realized pretty much anything, it's an emotional marathon. You have to know how to pace yourself. Like I was having a really crappy day yesterday in a way where I was slow in pledges initially. And I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I said, okay, well, I'll just somehow get pledges. So I started talking to people and I got like $100 some odd in pledges roughly. But it's just sometimes you have to talk to people. But I was tempted to go like, oh man, this means this means that. Even the best of us, the veterans can get into that. But you just have to learn not to spiral like, okay, it sucks now, but don't think you're a failure or don't think everything else is going to screw up and you're never going to just don't go down that path because it's not helpful. It wastes your energy. I mean, it's fine to face your fears. Like I'm afraid I'm a failure. I'm not going to be good at this. Okay. But don't go in that path of spiraling. And I think with LA, you kind of have to challenge yourself creatively. Like for me, I decided I was a member of CAPS, I think for 4 or 5 years before I decided to go for the presidency. And something in me said, you should probably do this. I think you'd be probably okay at it. Probably pretty good. I'm like, all right. So I just went for it. And so far, like the board is great. The elected board is great. We're getting stuff done, and we made a social media team. So that's really good too. And they're doing their best right now. I mean, things are opening up because they were saying the challenge is like, there's not enough events right now. I said, just propagate it. It's okay. Just put up what you have. There'll be more. Let's just get the framework in place. So once it actually starts cranking, we do it quickly. So, I mean, and I've had to kind of go in and do some stuff as well. I mean, I'm not afraid of that, but at the same time, it's like you realize like being president or running your own thing, you have to learn how to delegate things. Like sometimes when I work with a Kickstarter on a team, like, even though primarily this IP is mine, but if I have people doing fan art or something, I tell them, look, you know, promote it because it's about you too. Like, I sell it like that. Like, I tell them, like the artist, I said, they say, well, you know, here's Demon Bitch and it's a book and you should get it. And I said, you have artwork in this. Pimp your artwork. You have fans. Like, say that this is your artwork. You know, it's like, it's okay. There's like, you can promote yourself. It's not inappropriate. But I guess some people kind of hover being that person to, you know, we run into them at cons like, I'm that person. I'm the best, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think you should, in a way, think of yourself as the best, but not in a way where you're arrogant about it. Just more of like, this is where I am. I own this. But along the steps you learn to get to that. That's how I feel about it. Because I've seen plenty of artists too, and I know I'm going on 10 million tangents, but I'm trying to wrap it up here on that level. But as an artist, for me, when I went through art school, what was bad was that they never really taught you business. And I really think that's really detrimental. I mean, artists can now learn about contract work. We have a lot more rights than we used to, like even 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's kind of like some people we're not taught to have the attitude in business. And I think that's been demonized because they're going like, well, business, you have to be ruthless. It's no, you need to be assertive. That's a bit different. Well, I'm shy. I have this. I said, okay, look, I know you have whatever you have because I've been shy. I've had depression. I've had all these other things. But it's like, what are you going to be the most happiest? Are you going to be the most happiest in kind of just being ignored and shunned, or like have to assert yourself like, this is me, this is who I am as an artist, and they think that means you need to be loud and obnoxious. It's like, no, you don't need to be. Just, you know, if you're not okay with something, you could say it, you know, like, or like for me, I put it in a way like, if I don't like something, but I'll suggest something like, you know, I'm not really okay with this, but why don't we do this? Like, would this work? That's what compromise is. It's like, I don't know why in our society it's sort of like, oh, you just have to give up. It's like, no, you still work with something that works out for you and what you want, but you also try to include the other people so they get what they want too. You know, and again, it's like everybody's that way, whether they want to admit it or not. And even when I've counseled like younger artists, they said, well, I'm really shy. I'm this, and I'm not trying to mock people. Okay. But I'm just saying, like, it's like, well, I'm really shy. I don't like, I even told one of them, you do not need to be a car salesman, but you do need to tell people about your work because you're one of millions out there. I'm not saying you're any less talented, but you're going to get lost in the middle. We're going to get lost in the mix until you talk to somebody. And you don't have to go, like, I've known artists that are like very successful where they're very quiet people, but they talk, or they're very exuberant. You know, it's just who you are. You're selling yourself. It's not a mystery, but it's made into it.
And I know a lot of creative people have that problem because everything from what I've seen, there's basically two types of creative people. There are the people who think they're the best thing since sliced bread, and they will happily tell you about that for the entire day. And there's the people who hate everything they do, and both of them have to get work, you know. And there's no one coming along trying to get you work. They're not out there. You're not going to find someone promoting you. You have to promote you. And that is one of the hardest things. And I know for me, you know, that's a thing for me, is I have a hard time selling myself. Yeah. You know, I did a Kickstarter earlier this year. It was my first, and it was so exhausting doing the promotion for it because it's not a natural thing in my wheelhouse where I can come on here and talk about, you know, books, everybody else's books, interview people, no problem. If I'm trying to pitch my own stuff, that's where it gets rough for me because I'm, you know, I tend to be self-deprecating and, you know, and hate everything I do. So it's hard to shift that gear, but it is necessary because of this industry. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't work in an industry that has a ton of agents and, you know, I write a novel and it's a completely different process. You know, I write a comic book, I pitch it to an editor. If I do a novel, I've got to find an agent, pitch it to the agent and get them to take it out to all the publishers. It's such a weird difference in the industries.
Yeah. But JD Smith, digital artist, demons say what? It's a character, JD Smith. It's funny. It's just like it's basically a low level demon. I'm running a Kickstarter on it. You're welcome to take a look at it if you'd like. I put the link in the private chat, so if you wanted to pop, I didn't know how you did it, but just
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Kyle, can you throw that up in the private?
Oh, I did. It should be up
No,
there.
I mean, Kyle, can you throw that up into the general?
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's like this. You kind of have to have confidence in yourself. And when you realize, like, because I said I was coming from that point that for me, I did not, I kind of was like, oh, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. But it's like, well, one of my good friends said, you are perfect when you are dead because you're not screwing up anymore, kind of thing. That's like the afterthought. But I think, like, look, if you have credentials, like for the longest time, I didn't talk about having a Ringo Award because, like, for me, it's like, okay, on to the next award. Like, maybe I'll go for an Eisner. Maybe I'll go for this. Maybe I'll go for that. And that's kind of the fault that I have. And then I realized, why am I not advertising this? I mean, it is an honor. It is a pretty notable honor. Sure, why not? And I just put it up there. I mean, you should be proud of your credentials. I mean, there's one where you're that person. You're like, well, I went to UCLA and I went to, it's like, what did you do? Like, what are you doing with it? You know? So it's like, I mean, I know you did one of the series to 30 Days a Night. That's one of my favorite comic series. And as I said, we were talking a little bit about it yesterday before I got super tired because it was pretty late. But, you know, I read it and it's like, it's a good friggin' series. And it's like you should be really proud of that. I mean, it was, even though that particular book may not have been made into a movie, but the fact it's part of a good series, I think is great. Like, you know, I was quoting you some stuff from the first book, like where he turns into a vampire and he's like, it feels like crap. You know, I can't say it. I know it's like PG-13 here, but that anger and the drawings by, I think, Temple Smith, right? I'm kind of terrible with memory because also, you know, you probably realize with Kickstarter, your brain's like, so I'm going to name my first child after this book. Well, you know, it's funny because there's another level to that. I kind of wondered why I wasn't really harassed at it. And people say, well, you kind of have demon bitch. And it's funny because, like, I've actually been to comic stores where they said, wow, you're really nice. I'm like, I don't come in with an attitude. It's funny. I mean, sometimes I'll wear black. Like, I mean, like, look, I have a Unicron mix Death Star Vader thing. I mean, I love Transformers. I mean, I like Star Wars well enough. I'm more of a Trekkie, but I like the shirt. I mean, I like Star Wars well enough. I mean, but I just think it's really funny that, and I said, I came into that store with like chocolates for everybody. Like, oh, thank you for your help and everything. And they were like, you're really nice. Because I mean, I guess I come across as really intense to people, but it's actually kind of funny because it's worked out well for me, I guess.
Oh yeah, but you can't judge a person by their artwork or whatever. If you ever get a chance to meet Tim Vigil draws some of the most visceral, gory, detailed artwork ever. And you walk up to him and he looks like he's an accountant. You know, he's just a little kind of non-assuming guy, sits there, little ball cap on, glasses, drawing away.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's always the quiet ones. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, if you're familiar with, because I'm coming from the underground, which I find funny that I got elected to CAPS. I'm not saying they wouldn't have accepted me. I mean, if you're a legitimate artist and everything, but I find it funny because, like, I come from the punk scene, the underground comic scene. So it's like, it's that hardcore, like, I mean, like, one of my favorite cartoonists is Mike Diana and Johnny Ryan. So if you guys are familiar with that, Johnny Ryan did Prison Pit and he's drawn some stuff. Like, this is not kid friendly or anything, guys. So just Google Johnny Ryan. You'll know what I mean. But he's one of my favorite artists. I mean, I met him, but he's like the most quiet dude. He's like he's just the most mellow dude. And like the people that I know that draw that messed up, they're actually pretty well-adjusted people. But I guess like the people that draw the cute stuff, it's like they're kind of very weird and controlling and hyper anxious about everything. The ones that I've met that drew the super cute stuff.
Yeah.
But oh, cool. I'm at work. I will Google this stuff now. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not safe for work. Not Johnny Ryan. You might want to do it on your phone on your own data plan, you know, but Tim represented Jim O'Barr. Yeah, but it's like fun. It's like, it's weird now because it's like in college, if this dates me, I grew up with Love and Rockets and stuff and Dawn and all that. And I'm like friends with some of these people now. It sort of trips me out. Like me and my 20-year-old self would never have thought of.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the neat things about the industry is, like you, I was part of CAPS, but quite a bit ago now, and I
Yeah.
would go into a CAPS meeting. I'd walk in, sit down at the table, and a few minutes later, Sergio Aragones would come in and sit down, and then Stan Sakai and Bill Morrison, and you. It's like, oh my god, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember growing up watching. Oh, I don't remember the there was an NBC TV show that Sergio Godis used to draw the caricatures that would come across the screen and sweep and stuff. And
I think I've seen that. I think I've
yeah,
seen it. Yeah, it's like it's weird because I'm familiar more with his mad stuff than Gru, but I have
yeah,
read some Gru. It's not that I haven't. But
yeah.
oh, JD was saying like just found Love and Rocket's phenomenal book. Yes, it does. But I went up to the signing because I bought their most recent one, and these characters have aged in real time. So I walked up and I said, "I'm as old as these people now." You're just kind of laughing because it's like, wow, I never thought it because they were 20 years old or around there in their 20s when I was in my 20s. Now it's like, oh God, we're old now. Gen X. Holy crap. It's kind of a weird thing because I don't think of myself as older, which is interesting. I mean, I know on a certain intellectual level, I've wised up and not done stupid things, as many stupid things, and not met as many stupid people. But at the same time, you're just kind of like,
I think of age the same way I think of height,
yeah,
which is you think this is what everybody is. The age you are is what you think everybody's this age. You're not old, you're not young. This is just that. It's like, I'm 6'6". But in my mind, that's just average height. That's, and either people are taller or shorter, but that's just, you don't think of yourself as being tall, or you don't think of yourself as being old, except in the morning when you try to get out of bed and everything cricks, and it's like, but I think overall we just think of ourselves as what we are, we don't,
yeah.
you know,
Like, I don't think of myself as 20. Like, I think maybe some stuff I've learned when I was 20, it's kind of weird, but it's also kind of strange too, because it's like, I kind of felt like I aged in reverse because in my 30s, I didn't know this at the time, but I had a really slow growing pancreatic tumor. And that just got removed in 2019 before all this COVID crap happened. Like, seriously. So it was weird because, like, all of a sudden I had more energy. I didn't have a film, like, because it kind of messed with me hormonally a little bit. And I actually dropped a lot of weight. And it wasn't like I was unhealthy before, but it was one of those things where somebody invited me to 2 rounds of Russian roulette and I never got the invite, which was weird. And I always tell this story because I think it sort of trips people out because they would never have known that about me. But I figured, like, if I tell some interesting bits about myself, I mean, I am not my tumor, by the way, but it was weird because it was sort of like most pancreatic tumors, when you find them, they've turned cancerous. I was like the 3 to 5% that it wasn't. And then they told me
wow.
after they would remove it that I would be diabetic, which I'm not. So it's kind of like twice I had to give the middle finger to death. So it's kind of weird how that's changed my outlook on life in general. I actually feel a lot better now because, I mean, it was such a slow growing thing. It took over my body and I was just like feeling crappy half the time. And it was so big. It was 6 inches and it was pressing up against my spine. So anything I'd ever injured or hurt or anything, it would be much more painful. And now since it's out, it's not pressing against things. I got less weight and everything. So now it's like everything is actually virtually painless. Like I get stiff and I get the artists and writers, they have that kind of like stiffness in their middle of the shoulder blades and stuff. But other than that, I mean, I am actually relatively pain-free, which I'm very grateful for. Like, at least like it went backwards where I'm not in pain. And my work has gotten a lot better, but it was just kind of amazing to me on that level. And when COVID hit, I don't want to be insensitive and say like, oh, you big babies, it was COVID, but it kind of put me in a space where I could deal with it better in a much more saner way, because being told chances are you're going to be dead. You have to go through that in 5 minutes. And then told like the next hour, oh yeah, it's actually really treatable and this is what it is, but you're going to be diabetic. It's like, wow, you're going to punch me in the nuts a couple times. Like literally, I can't be prettier than that. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. And it's kind of like the attraction to messed up comics. And I think punk music. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like punk other music. I mean, I'm really have a problem with any of them, but I think it's helped with coping. I mean, I've had a lot of stuff happen in my life that was pretty traumatic. And I think there are times I'm like going, God, I'm so glad I don't know. There were times that I could have thought, man, if I was just any different, I probably would have been addicted. Oh, there you go. Wheel thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, like dealing with crisis now, it's like, okay, all right. But it doesn't mean that it's any less important. It's like, okay, well, I've been through bad things. Let's see what I can do with that. And honestly, it's like, that's why I welcome trigger moments sometimes, because that allows you to address stuff that's been in your system or psyche for a while. And I think people getting, doing trigger warnings and being scared to run from them, it's like you're running from your fears. You need to address them. And I know some people go like, well, that means that you just don't care about my fears. It's like, believe me, I do. Believe me, I do, but you kind of have to think. And then you're like realizing, wait, this is crap. My mom said to me when I was 5, I really don't need to keep on to this. But it's like a nasty little pearl. It like goes over and over and over.
Yeah.
Because diabetic who learned to produce working with punk bands and the sicky of this group, I'm feeling senior. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Kyle.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, diabetes isn't fun because you have to kind of deal with a concept of your food is poisonous now, potentially. So
oh yeah,
I can feel that. Like my dad's type 2, but he got it really late in life and he's like super monk diet. But it's kind of scary when you have to deal with the thought of diabetes. Like, yeah, it's like a condition and some people have been born and raised with it all their lives because it's juvenile onset. That's usually type 1 as far as I remember. Now people can correct the little bits of it, but it's just coming into that and that possibility of coming into that when you didn't even ask for the stupid thing to happen to you in that regard. And it's later on in life that kind of messes with your head. It's not like I'm not an old person. I'm not an old woman. But at the same time, it's like I didn't do crap to like cause this, So it's like luck of the draw. It's really kind of messed up. But for some reason, I'm not.
We need to take a quick break. We're pushing past the half hour. So let's do a quick break. We'll come right back with Christy Shin talking about her Kickstarter book, Demon Bitch. Be right back.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there. Hi there. Hello there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I'm your host, Henry Kumpel. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mush Mosh.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectibles.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box?
What's in the box?
Comic culture and sales.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. We are talking with Christy Shin. She has a Kickstarter going for her book, Demon Bitch. And I wanted to ask, looking through the book you sent me, everything is done like one panel setups. Now, were you doing these as like an online cartoon and these are collected, or are these just put together for the book itself?
Well, for me, it was actually a combination. I have her on Webtoon, and what I do is I come up with the material, I put it up, and it's kind of like, you know how Lore Olympus, they had it done for Webtoon, but then they came out with a hardcover book of the comic. That's what I do. It's just sometimes some people are not into Webtoon, some people are not into online comics, but sometimes people just want to read stuff. They're never going to get over that. So that's how Triggered happened. But I always throw extra bits in there. That's the thing. I don't always like throw like a bunch of other stuff or anything in there. It's just, it's just like an extra book. It's sort of like a compilation of stuff. Like sometimes like with the Hernandez brothers, they'll kind of do a comic compilation of love. I think they even have one of Love and Rockets, like for the past 20, 25 years. And I'm pretty sure they add extra stuff or picture or images or sketches in each of those books.
Now, were you doing these daily or?
I do them weekly. I release them weekly. It is like Wednesdays, every Wednesday. So I call it Wicked Wednesday. And I'll just go and draw. But sometimes I'll draw a bunch of them at once and then just release them per week. Because I try to work with a workflow where I'm prolific. Because there are times what I've realized is that sometimes I just won't draw for a while. And then I'll be really super prolific and just come up with a ton of work and ideas. So that's just what I do.
So when you go through these patches where you're not drawing much, do you find that your psyche and you basically they're working against you to get you back to drawing?
It's honestly just the battery's out. So I just kind of like let it happen and recharge. Like I've learned in my years as an artist, like not to crap on myself. I mean, because usually I'll always make deadline or I'll make deadline well within the time frame. So as long as I'm confident in that, I'm not going to go and start crapping on myself about, oh, you didn't do this today. I mean, there might be times I might slightly do that. And then I'm like, I'm not going to do that right now. This is not be mean to myself day. And I think a lot of artists and creatives do that to themselves. Like, I mean, okay, I got to get my butt up in gear. I got to get this done, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But I'm not going to go out of my way and bash myself because that's not going to help things. It didn't help me then. And I've known it not to be productive. It's just like, okay, well, I don't feel like drawing it. I know I have this. So I'm pretty sure if I relax for a day or two, I'll do it. Like right now, WonderCon and this, it's like with certain creative projects, I'm still preoccupied because I'm getting everything together for WonderCon. As you know, like a Kickstarter or any crowdfunding, that takes up the space in your head because you're thinking, okay, who do I need to talk to? Because I've advertised this. And then like literally sometimes you have to be a door-to-door salesman and talk to people. But you also have to have a network. You also have to it's very, very intense in some ways. And that's why I call it a mental marathon or an emotional marathon, because you're going to have those days where you're like, damn, I didn't do this. And you feel kind of like a failure and you want to spiral. And that's not a good thing. But at the second bit, it's like, okay, well, all right, let me go put this out here and that out here. Try this avenue. You're constantly thinking to yourself what the hell you need to do. And that's the part of it that kind of worries people. But I'm just like going, well, I have to manage WonderCon. I have to manage this. I've got people giving me notes, like asking me, hey, can you do this? Can you do that on this to get some stuff set up? Because we're promoting it at WonderCon too, the Kickstarter. I mean, I've got a QR code and everything. And, you have to kind of make like adjustments for things. Like I didn't get those QR code stickers that I wanted to put behind the Demon Bitch webcomics things. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to work it again in another way. So, I mean, that's all you got to do. And sometimes, it can be grinding. Sometimes it's tough. Like there are times I take a nap in the middle of the day because I need to switch modes in my head.
Yeah, I know when I was doing my Kickstarter, I would wake up at 3 a.m. and suddenly check the total just to see where we're at. Or, maybe I should post something. It's 3 a.m. Who are you posting to? But it's that mindset you get into that, what else can you do? And that's the hard part. I mean, that's where it gets overwhelming, and it took up all of my January. All my free thought in January went to this Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
So it's like it's at the same time where it's like I've just realized to keep your sanity about Kickstarter. It's nice if you wake up and you got all these pledges, right? And don't be holding yourself to that shouldn't happen. But sometimes you get pledges later in the day. Like yesterday when I was having a tough day, it's like, okay, well, I'll go talk to some people in midday and afternoon. I got pledges, but I talked to people. I mean, you still have to do that no matter how much preparation you do. Maybe the more experts where they are up 30,000 level, they probably don't need to do it as much. I don't know. But for me, I always like pounded the pavement on it. And I allow myself enough time. Like if I allowed myself 30 days to raise the money I do, that is why I'm just like, I would be so neurotic and crazy. I also have to build it with my sanity in mind. So that's why I'm kind of going, okay, 45 days. That'll give me more than enough time to not only raise the funds, but to put some gravy on top of it. Because there's other things you need to account for.
Yeah.
Like this is why I love people like Mog and Mel. They were great at spreading the word for their friends stuff on Kickstarter. Yeah, I know Mog and Mel. They're great people. Like they actually recommended me to you guys, like to talk to you guys and stuff. But yeah, Mel and Mog are great. They're good people. And I think Mog and I, we bond because we're Korean. We're both Korean. So it's like we talk about like it kind of, I don't want to say exclusively Korean things, but stuff our parents do. So it's really kind of funny on that thing. And her husband's really nice. Her husband's a foodie and we're all foodies. So that's good. So like I suggested that they be on LACC and they really liked it. It worked well for them. And she was in the Asian Invasion event too that I put together. So the Asian, I don't know if you knew about that one, but yeah, the Asian Invasion event, it was probably about, okay. So what it was is that cons were starting to open up, but the Omicron variant was kind of scaring people and was closing some of the West Coast cons down.
Right.
And what I really hate is seeing people feeling ground down because it puts me down. Like I feel worn down too. So what I did is I put together an event for Asian creators because why not? Because I went on this tangent of this one picture where it had Asian invasion on it. It was a squinty Punisher skull. And then I decided to make a shirt of it. And then I said, wait a minute, Asian invasion, yellow peril. Okay, we'll do this. Because it was a joke on yellow journalism. That's not why it's called yellow journalism, but it's, that whole sensationalistic thing. And it was around that time period. And I did it as a joke. And most of the creators actually thought it was really funny. So we ran it at the Comic Bug. And June himself is Japanese. So I was like, nobody's going to accuse him of anything. So we did it and it was a success. And there was nothing more heartwarming than having a lot of the people from the Asian community come up to me and tell me we needed this event. I'm like, what? And they said, yeah, we barely have any representation. I was like, wow, okay. But I think it's like the representation of how people are in this sense, like when you go and advertise for a Black Comics Festival or Latino Comics Festival, and like with any sort of ethnically diverse comics festival, there's a very certain way how they market it. And I get very bored with how it's marketed. Like, oh, great, Sakura blossoms, who cares? Like, I mean, after a while, it gets annoying to me because it's like, I don't really think of those things or anything. So I decided to just putting in together my punk roots. I put down that thing and actually people really liked it. And June actually said, dude, if you want to do this again with another set of with the same set of creators, we'll do it in May where it's API month, Asian Pacific Islander month, if you guys don't know. And, we're going to do it. So I have to just talk to them and set it up, but I've got other creators and everything and we'll see how it goes out.
Yeah, June is great over there, and the Comic Bug is a great space for doing these kind of things.
Yeah,
I've done free comic book day there a couple times, and also table reads with a group where we act out unproduced movie scripts. So it's a great location, and June's a good guy.
Yeah.
The Experience did a big thing last May for API. So talk with Kyle. We'll probably be doing something like that again this year. Maybe we can link the two together.
Yeah, that would be great. Like I put up an event in Facebook as well, but I mean, Facebook, the algorithms are kind of wonky. But yeah, I'd love to talk to you guys. I'm trying to get a hold of June and Eddie, like to kind of reschedule, but I'm probably going to when it gets close to the event, we're going to do it. But the initial plan is we may have to advertise it during Free Comic Book Day. Mm-hmm. And then we'll probably do it later on in the month because I have cons that I have to take care of during the month as well. But yeah, definitely. I would love that. Let me write that down too. Yeah, because it was a success. Like June really liked it, and I think it was really good because it kind of gave the Asian American community some visuals. And I joked about it. Sorry, my nose is itchy, but we joked about it. It's like, yeah, we might have a great credit score and we stay out of trouble, but we're not model anymore. We're not the model minority anymore. So it was kind of a joke on that. And I'm a little jerk, trolling jerk sometimes. So that's why I labeled it as Asian invasion. I mean, there was a couple of people that were like, I don't know, but I just said, well, we have everybody. Like we had Don Ho. He's done, he's Marvel now. He's an inker, I believe, for Marvel. There's Don Wynn. I will always count on Don Wynn to pimp out the event. I mean, just Don Wynn, you have him on your team. I don't know how that guy does social media. Like I thought I was pretty good at promotion, but that guy is like on point. So he's doing that. Moana Nui. Oh, API. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Moana Nui. I don't know him or her. I would like to talk to them, but yeah, I mean, it's just that. And I don't know. It's like it's like for me growing up, I was actually expected to fit in a certain box and I don't. And I think, and I know a lot of people in the underground art scene that are Asian, and they like, if there's Korea Angry and Helen Jo, like Helen Jo's not exactly underground, but she does some really intense stuff. And I would like to have her on there. I'm just borrowing her schedule and all that. She's really a nice person too, but it's just including all these people that aren't so stereotypical and everything. It's just like, we are an eclectic mix. Like I've had people that are Chinese to Vietnamese to Korean, and there are people working on teams and all that, Taiwanese, all this other stuff. It's like Vietnamese. So it's like, for me, it's like, we're just people. Come on. Like, let's kind of normalize us as people. Like, that's how I feel that would be best served.
So let's talk about CAPS. You're the president at this point. What's new with CAPS? Like I said, it's been probably a decade or more since I've been there.
Well, we've been making changes. As I said, it's been kind of slow because, things are opening up. And at the beginning of the year, we were kind of not sure how fast they were opening up. I kind of had an idea, but the events had to catch up with it. So we're implementing right now. We do, obviously with COVID, everybody had to do Zoom meetings, but it was kind of dormant for 2 years because there really wasn't anything going on because everybody couldn't go and do stuff really. Like, yeah, we could go out to eat, but going out to bars or clubs or events, that was really restricted. So we were kind of dormant for a while. So what I did is I took this opportunity because the elections were in February and I found out on the 10th of February and we just started the ball rolling. Like, unfortunately, I wish we could have done it earlier, but due to restrictions, you kind of had to keep mindful of that. We're aiming for a hybridized meeting space because everything's changed. Like, there are some CAPS members that have to take care of family members or they're doing work remotely. So taking a break, we know this as artists or creatives, we have taking a break and driving wherever we need to go. Cause it's in the Animation Guild in Burbank and I don't live that far from it, but for somebody that lives in Long Beach or Southgate, that's going to be a drive for them. And if they've got family obligations, then it's less likely for them to attend a meeting. So we're doing hybridized and looks like we're setting up and that's looking pretty good. Hopefully we can do it by next meeting. That's on the 7th of April, but I'm keeping tabs on it. But if we have to do another Zoom meeting, fine. I understand. So we're looking for that. We're also looking for the social media team. Basically, if anybody has an event that's in CAPS to go and give us like some sort of, time, date, event, images, we're going to throw that up too. If anybody is like, I think it's Comic Art Pros, but if they tag themselves, like, and if they're part of CAPS, they'll have their stuff retweeted, like small things. And I'm not wanting to stay small, but eventually I want us to kind of have a network of comic book stores so that we can branch out and sell our things. We have better promotions. We do have a CAPS table in Ontario Comic Con. So you take that there. And then we're also having exclusive member content that we can have on the site that we can log on and look. That's the long term. But I would like us to have a network. I mean, because the internet is going to be a big place. It's a big place, where I want us to reestablish, at least in this year, how we are in LA and then domestically and then internationally. Because I think because of comic stores and how it's changed, like with Diamond and all that other stuff. And again, if you're been published by a big publisher, that's not going to go. We're not exclusive like that. We're not going to exclude people like that. But we do understand that a lot of people aren't doing that. They're self-publishing. Like, I'm looking at the criteria of the big guys, and they say, well, we start paying attention to you after 3 Kickstarters. And if you have a certain amount of following, no bots, you know? So you just go and you, like, the amount of interaction and all that, you know, we're acclimating that as well. We're trying to look into members that are outside of LA. So I just want a better way for us to network. And eventually, like, if we want to branch out into other areas of the world, we can. And of the United States. That's my long-term plan, at least in the 2 years that I'll be president. And I can do it.
This is great because the reason I stopped going is I was living in Anaheim, and to get from Anaheim to Burbank for a meeting on, I think it was Tuesday nights. Yeah.
Well, at least it's usually the second Thursday of every month.
Thursday. Okay, it was Thursday nights.
Yeah, I don't know if it was back then, but that's what I've had to deal with. But yeah, I know it's like getting out of your house and doing that. It's a pain in the butt. You know, it's like, and you know, gas prices are up right now too. So it's like, so it's like, you know, for me, I have to take into account some people are working. Like even Jim McQuarrie, who was our president, now he's our treasurer. You know, he was stuck at his desk. He couldn't leave to do that. But I know people that want to learn and interact, but they're kind of like stuck at their desk. So, you know, to encourage more interaction. Now, like my attitude right now, also with CAPS, is that after an hour of the meeting, if you go any more than that, people kind of tend to self-pontificate. I mean, we've all been guilty of that. Like, you know, corporate meetings, like, they're dragged on. And like most people, like, I hate corporate meetings because it drags on more than it should. Like a good meeting should last like 5 minutes. But I mean, we're here to discuss things and everything. So I cut it off at about an hour. That's usually what everybody has tolerance for online. Now, I mean, if people are, the only thing that you'll probably miss in the hybridized is that you get to socialize afterwards. Right. I mean, that kind of sucks. I mean, I can't help that. But at least like with the Zoom bit and the talking and communications bit, we're going to probably leave it at an hour. So there's that. So, you know.
Nice. All right, let's swing back over to Demon Bitch. You've got your Kickstarter going on right now. Hopefully Kyle can throw the link up one more time in the chat. So just give the elevator pitch. What is Demon Bitch for the people who have come on late, and why should they go check out your Kickstarter?
Well, she's a low-level demon from the 13th pit of hell where people throw their dog crap and gum wrappers, and she wants to bring the second coming of Armageddon, but the first one never happened because she is dumb. She is easily distracted by promiscuous sex and hard drugs, and it's about documenting basically the jerks that I've had to deal with in LA during COVID for the last 2 years. So it's the book called Triggered, because it's my observations from home, looking at my computer, watching everybody in the world basically take bites out of each other over really stupid things. It's a commentary on how people have been acting, how the news has been, and everything else. Now, people kind of go like, oh, the news has been, oh no. What I mean by that is it's one thing to be told you have stage 1 cancer, right? Very curable, very dealable. It's serious if you let it go on, but you can deal with it. But then imagine somebody telling you you're going to die every 5 minutes in your ear on top of that. So that's how I view it. So for me, the thing is that Triggered will also feature a 2-pin Tamabichi set where it has glowing in the dark expressions where she's mad and stupid happy. There's original artwork in there. The first one sold really quick, so I had to throw up more some original artwork. You can have a blind date with Demon Bitch as one of the tiers. It's also used to fund the first level of the new game, Triggered, the Saga Karen. Well, you know, when you think about it, Demon Bitch is kind of the ultimate Karen, except she doesn't drive an SUV and she doesn't have any income. She's just like a low-level hooker, basically, and not even good at that. But yeah, it's just basically my disgust at how people have acted. And it makes you laugh at it too, because one of the taglines is that COVID-19 made everybody stupid. That includes you. So we can all laugh at ourselves, kind of thing. So yeah, just check it out. It's very irreverent. And I'll probably, if you guys back the book, and if you get any of the rewards that are signable, I'll probably write something rude on them myself. And it features also a charm called Amu Demon. So it's like Sailor Moon, but Demon Bitch style. It's drawn by Zoralita. She's also worked on My Little Pony, and as a licensed artist, actually. And then you also get the prints and the tiki patch and pin. So people love this stuff. and people just have all the demon bitch things. And I've had always very quick and good fulfillment as soon as I've gotten it.
All right. Sounds good. Everybody definitely check out the Kickstarter. The link's in the chat. Thank you, Christy, for coming on. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
And I wish you the best of luck with Demon Bitch. Everybody, please stick around. Coming up next is the Comic Collectibles with Rex and John. And we've got the special Moon Knight going on with the original art page from Werewolf by Night number 33. Page 2 features Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night and Frenchie, who gets name dropped in the first episode of Moon Knight. And that's art by Don Perlin. That's up for sale, along with the original art that John Romita Jr. did for a Moon Knight cover, and a CGC copy of Marvel Spotlight number 28, which is Moon Knight's first solo appearance. So stick around for that. That'll be coming up in just a minute. Again, Christy, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And like I said, best of luck, and hopefully see you around. I mean, we're both in LA here. So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. Stay tuned for Comic Collectibles.
Thank you so much.
There's something for